From our studio in Atlantic City, and tonight from Resorts Casino Hotel, I'm David Spatz, and coming up next, we'll go back to 2006 for our last chat with the great Joan Rivers. It's coming up on tonight's edition of Curtain Call, and it all starts right now.
I am celebrating 31 years, 7 months, and 15 days of unintended celibacy. And tonight, I think it's gonna all change because you know music people, they drink, they take drugs, they see weird and funny looking things and they go for them. So, how about this? Even I have got the music in me. During the commercials, I swallowed my harmonica, and now when I pass wind, people behind me just sing along.
You know, I was looking up the definition of the word survivor today, and it said see Joan Rivers. So we came backstage at Resorts Atlantic City to see Joan Rivers. A pleasure to see you again.
Good to see, as always.
As always. It's been a long time that we've been sitting down and
yes.
talking. And there are so many dimensions to your life and your career, because both are intertwined, especially in the public eye, that I didn't know where to start. So I thought, I'll start with the way I opened the show, and that is, do you feel like a survivor? You've been through so much through your life. No?
No, I'm still going through so much.
Exactly.
I know what words we're allowed to say on your show or not, but I'm still.
Say it and we'll leave it.
I'm still going through this every day. No, it's a war. Mm-hmm. Constantly, and it's a struggle.
No matter what has happened to you over the years, you have always landed on your feet. It might have taken a little bit of time.
As Winston Churchill said, when you find yourself in hell, keep moving.
Always hard to hit a moving target.
Always hard to hit a moving target.
But you don't consider yourself a survivor? I mean, look at your longevity in this business.
That I'm proud of, David. I look around, I think, I'm around 40 odd years. I was just talking to some of the stage hands here at the resorts, and I was the second act in
yes,
here.
You were.
And it's hilarious. So that's the only thing that, I've stuck around, and that's great.
No, you mentioned that you 28 years ago, you were the second act to play this building. You were an opening act then, and
yes.
then the second time you came here, you were supposed to be an opening act for a certain male singer who had a little bit too much to drink
yes.
before sound check, and they fired him. We won't mention his name. They fired him on the spot on opening night. They brought a lounge piano player up from the Rendezvous Lounge, made him the opening act, and you headlined for the first time.
I headlined for the first time, and it was so much fun. And that male singer, and we could say it because he went into AA,
okay.
It was Robert Goulet, and he pulled himself together and the whole thing, but it was wonderful. He was stumbling around, hitting walls.
Good career move for you.
Come on! And it worked out wonderfully.
But I remember even back during that time when you headlined for the first time and then had established yourself. Yes, you could close a show, but you still preferred to open a show back then. Always.
I still love to open.
Really?
I still go out with certain acts and say, I'll open. Opening act is in a wonderful position. If the room is full, they say, oh my God, she's filled it. Look what she's done. And if the room is empty, you go, oh, poor, here we go. Robert Goulet, he's over. Mm-hmm. There's none of the, like tonight, I'm looking out, I'm counting heads. You have to make sure when you're a closer that you're bringing in the business.
Well, you're bringing in the business because they told me, I did my homework, that you have about 1,400 people tonight, which presents a problem because I think the room only seats about 1,300.
That makes me so happy.
It
that
should.
Makes me so
and
happy.
Again, it goes back to Survivor because you started out, doing stand-up 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
And then you crossed onto that threshold where you became a headliner, and then you have sustained that now for over 30 years.
By taking any job.
Mm-hmm. Right, you'll still work a small room to break in material.
I love it.
Right.
I work every Wednesday night at a small room in New York just to break in things for the big rooms when I come here, of course. But I love the business. I think that's part of it. I have certain friends, we won't mention their names, that you could tell they're bored on stage. And the audience knows that. I get out on that stage, I go, this is it, this is where I belong. Okay, let's have fun.
So if you're having a bad day, can you forget about the bad day when you go out there and you get the energy coming from the crowd?
This is the only place the day won't be bad, is the stage. When it's really rotten, a really rotten day, I can't wait to get on stage. You forget.
You are constantly developing new material.
Yeah.
I know that in the past and probably today, you've got large cards taped to the stage with brand new stuff that was, the ink is still wet
Exactly.
on the jokes. And you managed to weave them in with some of your set pieces, like the gynecologist, which you've been doing for a while, which is still funny.
Because people, I keep saying, I'm never going to do gynecologist again. Not going to do it. And then I'll come into the dressing room, there'll be a note. I have brought 3 friends from Canada to see your gynecologist routine. You go, okay, I'll put it in. So you have to do some
It's your greatest hit. It's like
It's your
Bob
greatest
Goulet
hit.
having you sing Camelot. I mean,
But the fun is the new stuff. Madonna adopting another ugly child. I mean, this is fabulous.
I'm just upset about Liza and David. It is just... You talk about luck. I never sent them the wedding gift. Oh, thank God. Doesn't it kill you when you've sent the gift and they break up? Oh, and she didn't know he was gay. I didn't either. What a surprise. It was just... Did anyone here think he was straight? The man plucked his eyebrows, collected Shirley Temple dolls, and knew every song that Judy Garland ever sang. That screams flight attendant to me. I am sorry. Oh, I want to marry him. He's single now. I want a husband that will lock me in a closet, make me lose 40 pounds, and not sleep with me. That's a Jewish dream. It is just...
I am dead cold sober, which means there will be no mistake this time when I pronounce, and let me say it right, nip tuck. That's a T, not an F. I just have to go a little further down the alphabet, but I got it this time. King Kong cost $200 million to make, as did Pamela Anderson.
You still thrive on current events, and you can find the humor in that.
Yeah.
When we first met, and this goes back 28 years ago, you were not crossing the line. You weren't even tiptoeing up to the line then. You had a very safe, funny act. When did you start to kind of test things out?
Slowly. That's a great question. In those days, you couldn't. Comedy was a very safe place to be, and you had to really have certain rules with the audience. And I really think it's Michael Carlin. Michael, that's my George Carlin. Michael Carlin's my accountant.
Right. Okay.
And he's funny too.
But is he as funny as George Carlin?
No, and that's why. Only with the books. He's a juggler.
Right.
But George Carlin was the one that really started breaking down the barriers. And now comedy is so wild, and it's so much fun because you could say anything on stage.
And you do.
And I do.
Because I got a report. You were out in Spokane around Labor Day weekend. There's a casino that we shoot at out there, and they said, "Oh my God, you won't believe what Joan was saying." And I mean, I have always thought that she crossed the line there, but now.
Now you talk about Filipinos eating dog. Yes, they eat dog. I met my neighbor, and she carries on. We don't eat dog. There's a leash hanging out of her mouth while she's talking. They eat dog. Twice a week she goes to McDonald's for a bucket of pork. Like, I care. I don't care. You want to eat dog, eat dog. And she invited me for Thanksgiving last year. We don't eat dog. Come to my house and see. The turkey had a Frisbee in its mouth. I mean, it's like...
It's what I say in private to my friends now is right out there to the audience. And also age allows you to say it.
That was going to be my next question.
Age allows you to, if I want to talk about certain things, also, as I always say, what are you going to do to me? You're going to fire me? I've been fired. You're not going to come back? I've had periods of my career, nobody was in the room. You can't hurt me anymore. So I'm going to do what I want to do and have a great time, and I hope you join me. And they do.
So the pressure is off?
Pressure's totally off.
Wow.
Except you want them to have a good time. Mm-hmm. I am still so conscious of an audience. They've paid a babysitter, or they've saved their money. The tickets are not inexpensive.
I was going to say, going out ain't cheap anymore.
It ain't cheap.
When you have dinner and the show tickets and paying a babysitter and parking. And
nobody says, hey, honey, let's go out and have a rotten time tonight.
Right.
So I always want to feel I'm killing. There's a very famous comedian, Bill Cosby, I might as well use his name. Bill once said to me, I try for 8 minutes, and then if I can't get him, I go on automatic. and I try to the last minute of the hour that I'm on stage, hoping somewhere I'll get them to laugh.
There was a point where, and you still do it, you pick on the rich and famous in your act.
Yeah.
You know, the larger the person, the bigger the target.
Yes.
For you. But then there came a time when you started saying it off stage, using those same comments about people publicly. What was how does that decision come about when you decide, okay, I'm going to go public with this instead of just doing it in the club?
Well, that's just because people start quoting you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help it. You pick up the New York Post and they say Joan Rivers says, Elizabeth Taylor,
Right.
your pizzerías and gravy comes out, something like that. So you can't help that when people. And now with the internet, I mean, as it's coming out of your mouth,
It's on the internet.
it's on the internet.
Well, I mean, you
somewhere.
had some choice comments about Mel Gibson just
yes.
the other day.
Yes,
Yeah.
apparently they were all picked up. Yeah.
And so you say them knowing that they're going to pick. It doesn't bother you.
What can you do? I mean, I said it in my act, which is true. His other bumper sticker on his car says, "My other car is an oven," and that went all around. And that was just one of the many comments.
All right, you are Jewish. I'm
Yes.
Jewish. And you use a joke like that. And do you ever worry that there are Jewish people out there who are going to be offended by a line like that?
If I started to worry who's going to be offended by anything, you can't. And when everything I do, I just said ovens.
Right.
And I just was reading something about the Holocaust. They said, any way you remind people, you remind people.
Wow.
George Clooney up for 3 things: Syriana and Good Night and Good Luck and previous nominations. All right, never mind, screw it. We all know about that. What's the best thing tonight about being you?
About being me? How drunk I'm going to be in about an hour and a half.
Even if you win everything?
But here's the funny thing. I'm not going to win everything. Probably not. I've been to quite a few award shows this year with this, and we've been unburdened by success at these events, not weighed down by trophies. So I'm actually very comfortable being here because it's kind of easy,
But you've become, seriously, like the epitome now of the super Hollywood movie star. Like Cary Grant walks in your body now.
Cary Grant just now, in his grave, just did this, and turned over.
But don't you feel wonderful that they think of you like you're an actor, you're a director, you've got the whole ball of wax, and you've also got the charm of a movie star. It's fabulous.
Well,
The red carpet gig.
Yes.
You started that in '96. It seems like so many things happen to you when you need something to pick you up and,
Yes.
and propel you back into the spotlight.
Right.
And the red carpet came around in '96. How did that
I was
happen?
having a very low moment. I had lost my daytime Emmy Award-winning
Right.
show. My Broadway play closed the same night as the show. That was
Nominated for a Tony Award.
nominated for Tony Award. Both closed the same Friday. That was a
Wow.
good Saturday morning. And I was really in trouble. My daughter heard them saying they need someone to stand with the paparazzi. She was working at E. And she said, my mother will do it. And they said, oh, your mother would never do that. And she said, call her and ask her. I'll get her on the phone. And I went out as the first celebrity to stand out there and ask questions. And the first one to say, who are you wearing?
That was the whole thing. Who you wear?
It should be what, but I said who.
Right.
And that's become the catchphrase now. Who are you wearing? We're talking with Jessica Alba, who has one of the most gorgeous dresses. How many dresses did you go through to pick this one?
Way too many.
It's absolutely astonishing. Who made it?
This is Versace.
And did she build it for you, or did she show it to you?
It's part of her private collection, and she showed me a couple dresses, and she actually picked this one out and said, you should try this on, and I put it on, and it fit. Donatella has quite an eye.
And that was that a throwaway line?
Well, I love that. I
bridge?
love clothes.
Right.
So it was just an easy thing to ask. You can't ask a celebrity who is going into an award show what they really feel about what's happening in Iraq and Iran today. They're too excited that you've got to ask them easy questions. Somebody like a Jessica Simpson, you don't even ask her name. You don't do anything that's going to press them or make them have to think for a second.
Have a lot of those people figured out that if they would only stop and talk to you, you'd probably leave them alone? You'd be nice to them and
they're
everything?
too
It's the
stupid.
one.
No.
It's the ones that kind of like steer a path
Exactly.
around you.
Annette
that
Bening.
they're inviting it.
Annette Bening, who is a great actress, by the way.
Yeah,
Being
she
Julia,
is.
one of my favorite movies in the world, but so grand. There is so much going up her rear end. I mean, you can't. Walks past with that expression, I smell. Well, you're just asking for me to notice your dress is really hideous. But maybe I wouldn't have said it if she was a nice lady.
So you don't care if they get angry with you and they're upset with you?
Who cares? What are they going to do? Here we go.
Right.
What are they going to do to me?
What are they going to do?
I've been down, I've been up, I've been broke, I've been back, blah, blah, blah. Too late.
Now, when you started out on the red carpet, you are so associated with you and Melissa as a team,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the two of you. It was you flying solo in the beginning.
And then they needed someone immediately because they realized I didn't know who anyone was. So they got Melissa in, and she was doing that. She had been with CBS This Morning, and she had been in VH1, so she was not like just use my daughter. And so they used her, and she's been wonderful because she's funny and she's smart. She has such good questions, and she knows who they are.
And the way I see when I watch the shows, you kind of work the celebrities, and she kind of anchors and also has her own opinions.
And also the younger celebrities, because she knows all of them. She grew up in Beverly Hills, so 2/3 of them are friends,
Wow.
And that makes me laugh. I said, "Who is that?" She said, "Oh yes, that's so and so. That's little so and so." When did she get the breasts?
Anybody can buy them.
I know. That's what Melissa says. Mother. I'm sure some of you out there are wondering if my breasts are real, okay? Let me just explain to you. Thank you. This one is. This one isn't. And yes, I am wearing underwear. It's in my contract. I have to. By the way, the tabloids were way, way off. I did not have 180 procedures, maybe 174, 175 tops.
You have not made a secret of the fact that you believe in cosmetic surgery.
Totally, yeah.
That the most
woman.
important man in your life is your cosmetic surgeon?
Absolutely. They said to me, "Who do you want in your coffin with you?" And I said, "My cosmetic surgeon." If I was in India. It's about looking good. They all do it out there. And I found it always, again, so bad that the women would say, "I'm naturally beautiful." And I would know exactly who did them. And I think it's such a lie for women to do that to other women. So I'm very open about it. And I think it's great.
Has there been anything that you set out to accomplish in your career that you haven't yet?
Oh, everything. What have I accomplished? Nothing.
What have you accomplished?
I never had a
Let me
hit
see.
show.
At one point, you were the highest paid woman in comedy.
Right.
You had.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. But
So what, I'm going to feel good about that?
all right. So you had about a very successful line of products on QVC.
I'm very proud of that.
Okay. You went into radio and had a successful syndicated talk show. You've had several TV shows.
Yes.
And won an Emmy Award.
But I have
You were
another one
nominated
coming up on Bravo. In theory.
Nominated for a Tony Award, a best-selling author,
Right.
motivational speaker. What am I
Right.
leaving out? A wonderful
Whatever.
grandmother.
And very good in bed. I think you have no idea how many
What's that mean?
old men from the nursing home go like that when my name is mentioned. They say, "Is he shaking?" No, he's trying to say.
Still with the self-deprecating humor.
Of
though, right?
course.
Why?
Look at me. That's why.
You're
It
a
ain't
very
hard.
attractive
yeah,
woman.
Sure, David. We know each other a long time.
I'm just trying to be nice here.
I know.
Known each other too long.
Know each other too long.
I know you've got like I said, an overflow crowd waiting to see
Thank
you.
God.
I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with us.
Great. Just great. Always great to see you.
Always good to see you, Joan. Take care. We'll be back with more right after this. Joan was one of a kind. She first headlined in a casino hotel right here in Atlantic City. I was fortunate to become friendly with Joan and got to see a side of Joan Rivers that many of you never saw. For all of the bitchiness that she exhibited on stage, Joan was really a very, very wonderful, sensitive person, and I wish more people could have seen that side of her than just the one she portrayed in front of the camera.